I wouldn't expect that United would play, for example, how we played against Liverpool. You do that against Villa, you're probably going to get murdered.
I've known for a while that we've got this performance in us.
We should be putting away the game and closing out the game like Amarim said in his post-match press conference. That's what we need to do more often, and if we fail to keep doing that, then Europe might not even be on the cards, because
it's felt like Fernandes leaving United next summer is part of the club's unwritten, maybe unwritten plan, maybe written plan. I don't know.
If he said what he said, I think it's genuinely because he was upset and sad at how he was treated when the whole Saudi saga was going on.
Well then, ladies and gents, you ready for a nice quiet podcast? Not really much to talk about in this one. Just 8 goals at Old Trafford. Probably the most mad game you're going to see this season. Kobbie Mainoo's brother being an absolute whopper. Some Bruno interview that came out. Turns out he didn't actually have that after the match, but it was a couple of weeks before. United wanted to tell him. He didn't want to go. No idea where to start with this pod. I'll be honest. It's going to be a madness. It's me, it's Nick, and it's Dan. First things first, right? I've got to say, we had a great weekend in Manchester, didn't we, lads, eh, Dan? You're back alive. Dan may or may not have died on said night.
yeah, just a little bit briefly. I was all with it, but yeah, I just died a little bit. But I made it towards the end, in all fairness.
I'll be honest, when me and Nick went to bed, we saw you. You were like, oh, mate, you look like a baby in the womb. And that was like, you were tucked in hard.
So
it was like,
comfortable. So
like,
comfortable.
you know when you fall asleep on a bed and like you wake up in the morning and the quilt is perfectly tucked in because you've not touched it and you still got your shoes on. That was Dan.
Bro did not use the duvet at all. He was just on top of the duvet. You know what? I'll give him a little bit of credit because no one had noticed that he died, and that's impressive.
Yeah,
You know
I'll
what
be
I mean?
honest. That's a good point.
He left the room in peace, and no one had a clue until about 40 minutes later. I was like, that's been gone a while. It was one of them ones. So credit where credit's due. You handled it well enough.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give
No
you that.
scene. No scene.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of scenes, my word, lads, right? This Bournemouth game, like Nick, you said it in the pod and the build-up, that Bournemouth are going to leave space. They left space. Manchester United came out and Old Trafford was having a good time. Do you think that first half was better than the first half against Brighton, given that we were 3-0 up at half-time against Brighton? It's something like, I heard Gary Neville saying to the pod, that's the best I've seen United. It kind of felt like he might have been right, but we went in 2-1 at half-time after Casemiro got a goal just before half-time.
Tricky. I think they were good in different senses. I think the Bournemouth game was better in the sense of combination plays, getting on the ball, little 1-2 touch passes and creating chances. Whereas the Brighton one was more of we're pressing the life out of these. And it's a case of when we're winning it, we're within 10, 15, 20 yards and we can have a shot within 2 passes. So a little bit different in terms of the success of where it came from in those 2 halves. But you probably have to lean it towards Brighton because you go in 3-0 up. That's a pretty good first half. Do you know what I mean? So
that Bournemouth game was like everything I'll kind of enjoy about watching United at Old Trafford in the first half. Like it wasn't just a goal from it was a deserved goal. It was like United getting the ball in the box, Dalot beating his man, just whipping across in, bodies in the box, and when mistakes happen, kind of happened for the 4th goal as well. Like, it was a little bit fortunate, but Cunha was right there because we were flooding the box with people and the ball just dropped to him. Like, Laurie Whitwell on Talking to Devils was saying from that game, I'll be totally honest, like, you can take it whatever way you want to take it. Like, you can take it from the fact that United scored 4 and we've scored as many as Arsenal, and you can take it from the positives of that sense of United, let's be honest, kind of throwing the kitchen sink at it. It was 4-2-4 at the end. The subs were aggressive. The subs were pretty impressive. They kind of worked. On the other hand, flip side, United have dropped 7 points now from our last 3 home games. We've dropped points again from winning positions. We had the winning position 3 times in that game. Like, what are you looking at that? Rose-tinted specs or more drop points?
See, the drop points bit is a big factor for me, but I suppose it's with most teams this season because what's the gap between 15th and 5th at the moment or 4th? I think it's about 6 points. So it's happening to everyone. It's not just us. But there's like when we're watching the games and in game, you're thinking, like you say there, we've gone up 3 times with the score. We should be putting away the game and closing out the game, like Amarim said in his post-match press conference. That's what we need to do more often. And if we fail to keep doing that, then Europe might not even be on the cards because,
mate, we can't close out games. But I tell you, like, there's ways to win games of football. It's not really. You just win a game of football. It's great. But there's ways to lose games of football. and there's ways to play in games of football. They're like even Mr. Gary Neville himself got a bit excited about watching United. He goes, look, that's how you do it. Like, I think he was saying that he took his 2 daughters to the game, and he goes, like, we left entertained. Like, the way that we played in that game, like, there's going to be shortcomings all damn season, man. There's going to be shortcomings until we sign midfielders, in my opinion. Like, people are going to have a go at Yoro and Heaven and Shaw and the defence for making mistakes in that game. I look at the goals that we conceded, and as influential as Bruno was going forward, and Casemiro with the goal that he scored, most of their goals, if not all of them, came because Bournemouth were running from the centre of the pitch at our centre-backs and kind of forcing them into mistakes and errors, which they're going to do. And it's happened time and time and time again. But I fucking enjoyed that game. Like, as much as it was madness and as frustrating as it was, Nick, to see more points dropped, I kind of left with a little bit of a smile on my face. Would I say a smile on my face? I don't really know. But a very different feeling to the same result after West Ham is probably what I would describe it as.
So yeah, I think styles kind of, or you say it in boxing, don't you? Styles make fights, and that was very much the case in this one, where the styles of how West Ham want to set up compared to how Bournemouth want to set up definitely played a part in how this game went in comparison to that game. It's also frustrating because all 4 of Bournemouth's goals are really clinical goals. Like they're top finishing. Like Semenyo's one right in the corner, the other 2 right in the corner. Tavernier's free kick was whipped. Maybe you could say Le Mans could have done a little bit better for that one, but I think that's pretty harsh. I think all 4 goals were just really clinically dispatched, which was really unlucky for us. Whereas I think we were quite right to have the 4 goals that we had because we created enough chances to have said 4 goals. So I don't know, like, yeah, I feel good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's much better to see us play this style of football than it is against than the style of football we saw against West Ham. But I've known for a while that we've got this performance in us. Even first game of the season against Arsenal, when there was space, there was so many flashes where Cunha and Bomo getting together, and that was the first game of the season. So I know that we can do that. The other side of it is what's disappointing. It's just those little lapses of concentration. I mean, right at the end there, their 4th goal, we get sucked into the press all onto one side to the point where Bruno's there, Kobbie's there. And that did happen on a few different occasions, I'll be honest, where both Kobbie and Bruno were sucked into one side. And as soon as Bournemouth got out of that press, they had heaps of space. I was getting flashbacks to Ten Hag. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like that. So, and then obviously you can say something about Heaven and Lisandro Martinez on their last goal as well. Can you tighten that up a little bit? There was also another goal, right, that came from them splitting our 2 strikers. That's the frustrating part, but equally, that's what you get when you have a 19-year-old Heaven and a 20-year-old Yoro. You know, there's going to be those little mistakes, and they should be allowed to make those mistakes. But it's that midfield that really bothers me because I don't see the quick fix there. And that's what's difficult going forward. But otherwise, so many positives. Honestly, so many positives.
I don't think there is one. In terms of the quick fix, like, Kobbie coming on, right? We may as well have a little conversation about Kobbie. I actually thought I think smooth's a good way to describe kind of how he played. I called him excellent after. Maybe that was a bit overzealous because, there were, as you say, getting baited towards the press. The defensive side of his game, which is not the strength of his game, it'll always get exposed because it's a weakness of his game. But what Kobbie's good at, Kobbie really helped United in chasing that game and going forward, and we were a much better outfit going forward, getting those 2 goals and chasing those 2 goals with Kobbie in. I can't really be fucking asked to have too much of a conversation about what his brother did. Like, just a quick, like, I don't know, a quick 30 seconds each. Like, Nick, I'll fly to you first. Like, it feels like, mate, if that's your half brother, like, you know that's not going to help him in any way, shape, or form. Like, what are you doing?
It's immensely childish and immature and attention-seeking and doesn't help anyone, including his own brother. And the worst part is that they're selling that T-shirt. That T-shirt is being sold, and it's just ugly.
Mate, there's gonna be people that are like suggesting that Kobbie knew about it and was sort of, I wouldn't say in on it, but was aware that it was going to happen. Like, and Dan, like, no one's going to be speaking about that cameo because of what happened with him wearing a T-shirt.
And it's a shame that his brother just can't stick to Love Island, really, isn't it? And he has to get involved.
He's shit at that as well.
Yeah. So I don't. What is it with some United players and the brothers just being absolute morons sometimes.
I like, well, that's a bit harsh, man. Phil Neville's all right. There's nothing wrong with Phil Neville. Was there an actual formation change? Like, what was going on? Like, Laurie Whitwell in the build-up obviously found out that United were doing some preparation in the build-up to the Bournemouth game with 4 at the back, right? And then Ruben Amorim speaking about it after, you can tell how pissed off he was. He goes, I don't know how you found out about that, but yeah, I was doing it. So go and talk about it amongst yourselves. It felt like it was a slightly different build-up shape. Like Yoro was coming a bit further wide. Shaw and Heaven were kind of squeezing in, and it almost looked like 4 at the back sometimes in the build-up. But then other times, if you looked and squinted with the other eye, it looked like a back 3. it was I don't know what was what.
I personally feel like there's more being made of it than there needs to be. I feel like there's been that flexibility, maybe not all throughout Amorim's. I can't quite exactly remember first season and such, but this season in particular, there's definitely been moments where that formation's been flexible. Like, I heard a lot of talk about even the press in a 4-4-2. We've pressed in a 4-4-2 plenty of times this season. We have adapted the shape plenty of times. So I don't think there was anything really that different, that new. I think it's because this report comes out from Laurie Whitwell the day of the game that everyone starts looking into it a bit too much, I think anyway. I've seen the flexibility there and like we've seen Yoro be essentially a right back before. It's not new for me anyway.
I think if you're talking about noticeable differences, it was United pressed really high against Bournemouth, like really, really high. Riskily high, if you want to call it that. If Bournemouth had the ability to play through it, there would have been big spaces, but that's the caveat of playing a high risk, high press.
Which there were. Yeah, so we won the ball in their half, and which led to a shot 6 times. Bournemouth done that to us 3 times. So, for a side like Bournemouth, who are known for their pressing, for us to do that double the amount of times they did, that's quite impressive. It shows our press is good. Our first press is good. Our second press, not so much.
I hope that Ruben Amorim comes away from that game and the feeling of Old Trafford, and there's going to be frustration. He's going to be pissed off. It is 2 points dropped. Like, we were winning the game 3 times. Like, you should be, as a Manchester United team, able to see out that game, and especially at the 4-3. That's when you've sort of like burst the bubble. You've scored in front of the Stretford end. You've got 16 minutes to go. Thereabout. Was it 16 minutes? About that. Well, with the 8 minutes extra time anyway. And then the 4th one went in. You're thinking, oh, fuck's sake. Big up Senny Lamons. Sticking a leg out, by the way. Jeez.
Keeping that record intact.
Oh, yeah, that record, which means fuck all, really. Let's be honest. But I hope the Ruben Amorim takes that and says, you know what, yeah, if we do throw a bit more risk into it, it might not work out, but I guarantee that United fans will be a bit more patient with Ruben Amorim and a bit more patient with mistakes that Yoro or Heaven or the midfield makes, or how many goals United could see, because we've scored as many goals as Arsenal in the league now, and we've conceded as many as Arsenal and City combined. That's how good our attack is on paper and how weak and porous our defence is. We ain't going to win any games 1-0 this season, people. Just accept it now. It's not because Senny's a crap goalkeeper. We just can't do it. So you go into Villa, we'll speak about the Villa preview in a bit, but you're going there, I wouldn't expect that United would play, for example, how we played against Liverpool. I don't think that would be a right call. Trying to win the second balls, play deep and defensive. You do that against Villa, you're probably going to get murdered. We may as well move on to the Villa game, really. Should we? I mean, you could talk about that 4 all day. Just as a final point on that game, Dan, do you think the United fan base is going to look at that match, as I said, overall from a positive perspective, or a negative one? What's going to be the feeling going into this Villa game off the back of Bournemouth?
Can I choose mixed by any chance? Mixed feelings? Or...
I mean, it's cheating, but yeah.
Based off both halves, because that's probably one of the best halves that most fans have seen at Old Trafford this season. The intensity levels were brilliant, and the pressing was amazing, like we've been through already. It was just the finishing that was the only problem, because United could have gone in at half-time about 4-1 up. That was the feeling in the stadium, that we thought we should have been up by more than 2 goals. And then the second half comes, and it's a little bit, we already know what's going to happen, same old, but to concede 2 goals in 6-7 minutes at the start of the second half just cannot happen at Old Trafford whatsoever. So on the front of it, probably a mixed bag of feelings, I'd probably say. But it's nice to see us playing well at home again after what we've seen against Everton and West Ham.
We're playing well at home, but can only get a draw, Nick.
My perspective on it is I'm more positive about it than I am mixed or negative for a few different reasons. Firstly, because I think the performance was really, really good, and another day that should be a win for us. Another reason is because where our midfield is our weak point, that's Bournemouth's strong point. So not everyone is going to be as good as hurting us through central midfield as Bournemouth were. The finishing from them was absolutely clinical. On another day, it won't be. And Buemo could have scored a few. Definitely should have got a few of them on target at least. And you know what though? One thing that I definitely did take from that game is that Aiden Heaven will have a big part in Man United's future, and if Ruben Amorim stays, because while I love De Ligt, what he can do off the ball and defensively, I've always said that he really limits us on the ball when trying to play out the back. Heaven, I thought, was brilliant in terms of not just being able to pass out the back, but carry it out the back, which Euro can do a bit of, but Heaven did it to a really good quality yesterday, I thought. While he did have his defensive issues, I thought on the ball, he was really, really good. So that, for me, was a bright spark that not a lot of people have spoken about so far, but I thought he was really good.
Well, De Ligt and Maguire, I think Amron doesn't know whether they're going to be fit for Villa, but the way that we've handled injuries this season, I mean, to be honest, you might throw De Ligt in a little bit early because we've just conceded 4 against Bournemouth. But like this Villa game, hey, look, you know what? We've had our easy fucking games on paper, man. Like, we've had our Evertons and our West Hams at Old Trafford. We've had our Bournemouth. Like, fuck it. Like, this is a tough game. Like, I'm not really sure what I'm expecting. Well, that's a lie. I know exactly what I'm expecting. I'm terrified about the midfield of this game, more so than I was Bournemouth, if I'm being completely honest. We know that Bruno's in there, or do we? Because Ahmad and Mbeumo are now missing, so there is a possibility you might see him shifted forward. But Šeško was fit. It's good to see him coming back, and he actually made quite enjoyed watching Šeško on the pitch against Bournemouth. You could see him starting up front with Mount and Cunha as the two behind, conceivably. You could see Bruno starting further up. Probably not then, because then who plays in midfield? Like, the first question is, right, what do you do in midfield against Villa? Like, Nick, I'm coming to you first. We know that Casemiro is suspended, and probably you're playing Bruno there. Are you partnering him with Mainoo?
No. I'd love to say yes. Villa play out the back all the time, and because of that, you can press them and you can get some joy out of pressing them. But if they beat that first phase of press, which they often will, because in a 90-minute game, they just will, Kobbie and Bruno in central midfield up against, Morgan Rogers, John McGinn, who, say what you want about him, he can still be effective, Tielemans, etc., that worries me. Seeing how Kobbie and Bruno both got baited to one side constantly in just about 30 minutes against Bournemouth, that would worry me. So
I know where you're going with this, because there's only one other name you can mention.
Sadly, I think he kind of because he just kind of
doesn't want to say it, does he?
This is how I would put it, right? This is how I would put it, right? If we played a 4-3-3, right, would you go with a midfield 3 of Cunha, Bruno, and Kobbie against this Villa side?
Well, Cunha's quite a nice idea there, because he's kind of basically Morgan Rogers.
Would you put Mount on one of the wings to track back? We know what his levels have been like up and down. I personally think Mount has to start. He was unbelievable, I thought, against Bournemouth.
Oh yeah, I think so as well. He's been good for last how many games now?
I think there's far more chance of if United weren't, when it clearly we were training in a 4 at the back system. We don't know whether it was a 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, whatever. It was a 4 at the back system. I think you're far more likely to see any conversations about a potential 4-3-3 against Villa than you ever were against Bournemouth, because that was the thing. Amram just prepping for life after Ahmad and life without Ahmad and Mbeumo for a few days. Mate, we're going to miss Ahmad way more than Mbeumo, in my opinion. And I think it might be a strange thing to say for our top scorer, but I feel like United in attack have got enough to cover for Mbeumo for a few games. United without Ahmad on that right-hand side will turn us into a left-hand side level of threat, and we've had no threat down the left all season. I imagine we're going to lose that threat on the right. I don't know how we're going to play against Villa. I don't know how we're going to... You know how United are going to play, but we're always going to go down the right-hand side. We're going to be right-heavy. We're going to sometimes go a bit direct. rarely going to go down the left. But now without Ahmad, does that mean the same level of that we can't go down the left, we can't go around down the, and we certainly can't play through the middle because central progression out from the defence just doesn't exist really. I think Kobbie's got to start this game. I think after that cameo was good, and with Casemiro suspended, now I know it's a risk. I absolutely know that's a risk, and I actually probably think the more you think about that, the more you do it. Even if you can get at Villa, you're just going to have to do a high press. I don't think you can really do a full team press. But then if you do a high press, you're going to leave fat gaps behind. Just a little 10-yard dink is going to beat the front press. I don't know how to approach this game properly, if I'm being completely honest.
It's high press, and hope for the best. You could try go for a mid block because Villa also are looking for us to be baited into their press. So you could argue that if we press them, we're playing into their game. But West Ham done all right pressing them. I know they lost that game, but West Ham, who shouldn't be as good as us in the press, done all right. So I do think it might be just a Hail Mary. Just go for it. It might be. Do you know what I mean? But that would worry me a little bit. But maybe you go super high press, but then play Dorgu and Delo on either wing back positions to give you a little bit of pace and power out wide to help you if you don't win that first press, help you get back. But maybe you're right. Maybe this is a Kobbie Bruno midfield game and you just go for it and hope for the best. We do have a good record there as well.
Yeah, imagine kind of what I just said there about if there's one thing that Ruben Amorim can take away from this game against Bournemouth, it's that if you take a little bit of risk, United fans will forgive you for a little bit more. So maybe there are different approaches to this Villa game, and one might end up seeing us 2-0 down within 25 minutes, and then that's going to be a long old day. But the other side, you're playing a very informed team, right? 9 wins in a row, okay? Even if United were banging form, Villa Park's not going to be easy on Sunday, all right? So you can't go there thinking you're going to... A team that's had, one clean sheet in the Premier League all season? Well, Sonny Lamons has had one clean sheet. I don't know. No, Onana didn't keep one before that. Neither did Bayern. Yeah, one clean sheet. We ain't keeping a clean sheet, bro. So we need at least 2 goals to win this game. So there's no point sitting back and sort of trying to sneak one on the counter. It's not going to work. We've got to scores first because we know that Villa are going to hit us.
And we haven't seen Bruno be played in one of the 10s all season long. But I do wonder, because Sesko's only just come back, maybe he won't want to start him. Xerxes out of form, so maybe he doesn't want to start him either. So I do wonder if he goes. Cunha through the middle again like he has the past few. Mount on the left because he's been banging form and he needs to continue playing. And then do you just go Bruno on the right and then go Kobbie and Ugarte in midfield? Go Delo right wing back, left wing back, Dorgu.
But then do you think defensive vulnerabilities with having Mainoo and Ugarte in midfield?
It's no less than... It doesn't matter who it is. It's compromised everywhere. It's Bruno and Mainoo, or it's Bruno and Ugarte, or it's Ugarte and Mainoo. They're all I'll be honest with it, they're different shades of shit, really, in terms of a midfield setup. There's just semi-compromises everywhere, and nothing's going to be perfect.
It's a bad one to miss Casemiro, and it's absolutely hilarious that I'm sat here in 2026 nearly worried about Casemiro missing a game for Manchester United because two years ago I was I feel like every summer since he's been here, apart from the first one, we've been waiting for his transfer out of the club, and it's just never come. And this season he's just become an important part, but he is going to be a big miss for this game. Let's
get our predictions in, and then I want to have a quick couple of minutes talking about the Bruno interview and just getting your opinions on it before we end the pod. But Nick, I'm going to come to you first. Villa away. Is it? What you say? Is there a chance? What are you saying?
We would do that one. Yeah. I want to be optimistic because I liked a lot of what I saw yesterday. I am worried about no Mbeumo, no Ahmad, but because of the high press and because apparently we're good at away games now, all of a sudden, I'm gonna go 3-2 United. Bit of fun one.
I'm gonna go a 2-2 draw. United to score first. Defensively, have to be a lot more disciplined though, and I think Amorim will know that. Because going forwards, I think you said, Sam, in your post-match reaction or this morning, you said we've got we've got a front attacking line which can get us into Europe, and then the back line of, was it relegation form or something like that? I was like, that's so accurate.
Yeah, right, but it is. Right, it's so bang on. It's like a Ferrari at the front and Fiat at the back. That's what United is, mate. My prediction's 2-2 as well. That is an optimistic 2-2, if I'm being honest. I know we're going to score goals, but I know we're going to bend over, and then Villa going to have their wicked way with us at least once. Like, it's going to happen. Like, we're going to call. There's going to be errors in midfield. There's going to be an error in defence. Hey, look, Senny, if you want to have the game of your life, have the game of your life, bro, because we're probably going to need you in this game. If we win this, I would predict he's going to be our man of the match. I think he's going to have to make some crucial saves. But 2-2 from me. Nick, you're going 3-2, and Dan, you're saying 2-2 as well. But yeah, can we finish on these like Bruno comments? Like, if you haven't seen them, let me explain what they are. Effectively, an interview came out. Well, the quotes from the interview came out in the Portuguese press the morning after the game against Bournemouth, and for all intents and purposes, United fans felt or thought that was a Bruno interview that happened after the game. It transpires it was an interview that Bruno actually did a few weeks ago. Part of it was at Carrington, and it was with, I think, Portuguese TV network Canal 11. But we didn't know that it wasn't. So it kind of felt like it was Bruno speaking after the game, and it's quite what's the word I would use? Emotional interview? I don't. It felt heartfelt. Effectively, Bruno was saying that he felt that United wanted to sell him last summer, and Ruben Amorim didn't. And it was Ruben Amorim who sort of fought his corner. So he's basically saying Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, Jim Ratcliffe, they wanted to sell me. Bruno rejected the move. Like, part of it, he was talking about how, my kids have lived in Manchester for 6 years in the rain, but, we can go to Saudi, live in the sunshine. That sort of Saudi PR beginning to accept the move sort of conversation. Nick, what was your take on what Bruno had to say? And is there anything you feel that we should be taking away from it?
It's weird that it came out when it came out, and I'd like to know the context as to who had those quotes. Really, do we know who had them and who released them and why on that morning?
Portuguese media network called that Mais Football, MAISFUTEBOL, football. Mais Football. It's basically just some Portuguese outlet had them from. I think it was published on the Canal 11 Portuguese network on Monday night. So that's when the quotes came out. It's just that the interview happened 3 weeks ago.
One thing I would say is that Bruno isn't, I think anyway, the type to say something for the sake of drama, say something for the sake of attention, especially if it hurts the club. So if he said what he said, I think it's genuinely because he was upset and sad at how he was treated when the whole Saudi saga was going on. It's disappointing to hear that United was so relaxed about Bruno Fernandes being let go. It also makes me question what their judgment of him is, and how do they really understand how important he is? Like, that they see what we see, because we're in trouble a lot without him. We would be in big trouble this season without him. His numbers for someone who is supposed to be an 8 is insane. He's on, I believe, 10 goal contributions already for the season. And I think he's like goal and assist last game, 2 assists the game before that. Like, he's on a great run of form. And like I said, again, playing from an 8. So it's disappointing to hear that that's what they thought. But clearly from what Bruno Fernandes had to say, Ruben Amorim was a big part of keeping him there. So at least I take peace in knowing that Amorim understands and appreciates how important Bruno is. But from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, in your perspective, it is a bit disappointing to hear that.
I suppose an important point to take away from that is Amorim, effectively, Dan had the final say. If Barada and Wilcox, clearly they were willing and prepared to accept the offer that was coming in from Saudi. If Amorim gave it the thumbs up and the green light, he didn't. He stopped it, and they didn't force him to sell his captain because they didn't undermine him in that sense. In the same way that Jason Wilcox took the leading charge in going after a striker instead of a central midfielder, which is actually what Amorim wanted. So it was a little bit of give and take in that sense. Amorim got what he wanted with Bruno, but not quite what he wanted with signing another central midfielder. To me, I'm not saying this is a consequence of the interview. It's felt like Fernandes leaving United next summer is part of the club's unwritten, maybe unwritten plan, maybe written plan. I don't know. I didn't think that we could lose Bruno last summer because I didn't think that we were in the position to lose him as a club. I feel like we'll be the squad should be in a better position by the end of next summer if Bruno's not part of it. If we do what we need to do with the midfield in a similar way we did it with the attack last summer. There was basically one point where you're saying that it kind of hurts me because I commit everything to the club and I'm sitting here and I can see other players who just aren't anywhere near. This isn't verbatim, but he's basically saying I can see other players who just don't commit anywhere near as much as me, and that hurts him. And like you saw him, he always cuts a frustrated figure, man. He imagine Bruno losing like a game of Ludo at Christmas. He must be pissed, man. Like coke going everywhere, like chocolate all staining the carpet. Nah, don't beat him at Mario Kart because he will be pissed at you for ages. He's just that competitive a person in his nature. And it's what makes him so good for United and completely indispensable. And man, I've defended Bruno right to the end. I will until Bruno's not a United player. It has been a privilege to watch him in a United shirt. My personal take is this is probably his last season. And we won't be able to replace him. We're just going to have to sign 2 or 3 players and hope we actually build a genuine squad where you don't need to rely on a player like Bruno Fernandes as much as United have for so long. Because fuck knows where we would be if he wasn't here. But yeah, I'll be honest, that was quite a quiet pod, man. There wasn't really much to speak about there, was it? Yeah, my God. Right, we've only got the Villa game coming up now. So our next pod will be after the Villa game. Fingers crossed, Nick's completely bang on. And it's a 3-2 win. Imagine that, a 4-4 draw and then a 3-2 win. I'll take it, man. I'd much rather have conversations like this than 1-1s or 1-0s. Like, I don't want to be peak Jose Mourinho. Fuck that. No, thank you. It's not United. But look, if you enjoyed listening, please do leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to us. And we'll see you after the next game. And fingers crossed, 3 points.